Okay, so get this. Imagine you think you found the gas pedal for one of the fastest systems in the entire human body, and to test it, you decide to block it. Hit the brakes, expecting things to slow down. But instead, it just launches forward with way more power than before. Well, that's pretty much exactly what happened when scientists looked at a key protein in the brain, and it completely flipped our understanding of how our neurons fire.
To really get what's going on with this wild plot twist, we've got to zoom in, like way, way in. We're heading to a spot in the brain called the Calyx of Held. Just look at it. This thing is one of the largest and most powerful junctions or synapses that we have. It's the perfect spot to study high-speed communication because it works like absolute clockwork. Or at least that's what we thought.
So let's start with a simple idea. I want you to think of your brain's communication network as the most insanely efficient postal service in the entire universe. I mean, it's sending billions of messages every single second, and with just incredible precision.
Now, the letters and packages in this amazing system are called synaptic vesicles. Each one is a teeny tiny bubble, and it's filled with chemical messengers. So when one neuron needs to talk to another, it just sends off these packages, and boom, a specific message gets delivered. This is, at its core, the currency of our thoughts and actions.
But how do these little packages get from, say, the back of the mailroom all the way to the delivery truck? Well, that's where this amazing molecular machinery kicks in. You've got these little workers, and they're called myosin motor proteins. Their job is to literally carry the vesicle packages along a whole network of tracks called actin filaments and bring them right up to the edge of the neuron, all ready for release.
All right, so you've got your packages, you've got your workers, but who's in charge? Every mailroom needs a manager, right? Someone who tells the workers to get moving, especially when things get busy. And for years, scientists had a pretty good idea of who is playing this role.
Let me introduce you to myosin light chain kinase, or just MLCK for short. Now, based on how this protein works in other places, like in our muscles, the logic was super simple. MLCK was the foreman. Its whole job was to flip the on switch for those myosin workers, basically yelling at them to grab a vesicle package and hustle it over to the delivery zone.
So the textbook model looks something like this. A nerve signal comes in, MLCK shouts, "Go!" The myosin workers grab the vesicles and run them to the front, and the message gets sent out. Super clean, super logical, step by step. MLCK was the accelerator. It just made perfect sense. And this is where the story just takes a complete U-turn. To prove that MLCK was in fact the accelerator, scientists designed a really simple experiment. They just decided to block it and see if communication would slow down or get weaker. Seems logical.
I mean, this is the big question, isn't it? If you take the foreman out of the mailroom, you'd pretty much expect the whole operation to grind to a halt, or at least slow down a lot. You'd think fewer packages would get delivered and the signal would get weaker. That was the hypothesis anyway.
But the result was the exact opposite of what anybody expected. Take a look. The bar on the left, that's the signal strength under normal conditions. But when they blocked MLCK, that's the bar on the right. The signal didn't get weaker. It got way, way stronger. It was like they thought they were hitting the brakes, but they actually slammed on some hidden rocket booster.
And this wasn't some fluke. The researchers were thorough. They tried 3 different chemicals that all did the same thing, block MLCK. And as you can see from the original paper, every single one of them increased the amplitude of the signal. The evidence was just undeniable. The foreman was definitely not a foreman.
So yeah, this result sent everyone scrambling for an explanation. If blocking the go signal actually made things go stronger, then what in the world was really happening? It was time to do some serious molecular detective work.
Okay, so first things first, they ruled out all the usual suspects. Did the incoming nerve signal itself get stronger? No. Did more calcium, which is the trigger for all this, rush into the cell? No, that was the same too. Well, did each individual package just become more likely to be released? Again, no change. The basic mechanics of the delivery system were all exactly the same.
And that meant the whole mystery wasn't about the delivery trucks or the driver. The change had to be happening back at the loading dock. It wasn't about the process of sending a package. It was about the supply of packages that were ready to go at a moment's notice.
And there it was. The answer was in the supply chain. When they blocked MLCK, the number of vesicle packages that were all lined up and ready for immediate release jumped by a whopping 52%. The signal was stronger simply because that first wave of delivery was so much bigger.
Scientists actually have a name for this supply line. It's called the Readily Releasable Pool, or RRP.
And sticking with our mailroom analogy, this isn't the entire warehouse full of packages. No, this is just the ones that are already stamped, addressed, and physically sitting right there on the loading dock, just waiting for the signal to be put on the truck. Blocking MLCK had somehow managed to crowd that loading dock with a ton of extra packages.
So, this one totally surprising result forced a complete rewrite of the rulebook. It led to a brand new and frankly much more interesting model of how the whole thing works.
Here it is. The new truth. MLCK is not an accelerator. It's a brake. Its normal day-to-day job isn't to push vesicles forward, it's to hold them back. It basically acts like a tether, preventing too many packages from crowding the release site all at once.
So, here's how the new process actually works. Normally, MLCK is constantly applying the brakes, keeping that pool of ready-to-go vesicles at a nice, manageable size. When you inhibit MLCK, you're essentially cutting that tether. The brake is released, and all these vesicles that were being held in reserve can now rush forward, swelling the ranks of packages on the loading dock. So when the signal to fire finally comes, that initial burst is just massive.
And this is why this whole thing really matters. It reveals this level of control that is so much more sophisticated than just a simple on-off switch. The brain isn't just about hitting the accelerator harder and harder. It can also fine-tune its power with incredible precision by just adjusting the tension on dozens, maybe thousands, of different braking systems, just like this one.
Which leaves us with a final and pretty tantalizing question, right? This one discovery turned one of the brain's assumed accelerators into a brake. And it just makes you wonder, how many other systems that we think we understand are actually working in the complete opposite way? What other hidden brakes are out there, quietly and perfectly regulating the immense power of the human mind?